stop, President John F. Kennedy's gravesite with eternal flame. Up ahead of us, we're driving through two black cast iron gates. If you look at them closely, you'll notice golden insignias on them, each representing a branch of the military during World War I. Army, Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard. Either side of us, right about now. On the driver's side, going to be the military witness award, one of the only major national memorials in the United States that honors and pays tribute to the women who have served in our nation's armed forces. There is a lovely museum inside of there that's open until 5 o'clock. If you have the opportunity, I always recommend it. Up ahead of us, on either side of us, is going to be the Custis walkway. The walkway goes all the way up to Arlington House. On our passenger side, Section 36, our first notable, Technical Sergeant Edgar Evers, World War II veteran who landed on the beaches of Normandy, civil rights activist, and the first field secretary of the NAACP in the state of Mississippi. He investigated hate crimes, and of those, most notable is the murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till. If we keep looking on the passenger side, we're about to see what Arlington National Cemetery is most known for. The seemingly endless rows upon rows of grave markers, all standing at attention, like soldiers. These are all government-issued grave markers. They are given to our fallen service members at no cost to them by the Department of Veteran Affairs. Now, as we near President Kennedy's gravesite, let's do a quick story. March 1963, President Kennedy paid a surprise visit to the cemetery. While he was here, he would go see the Arlington House. In front of the house, there is a flagpole. Where that flagpole stands is approximately where President Kennedy stood when he was overlooking the city of Washington. It was there that was overheard he stated, "It's so beautiful here. I could stay here forever." Sadly, in November of that same year, President Kennedy was assassinated. But after his wife and First Lady, Jacqueline Kennedy, having overheard what her husband had stated, she decided to move his burial from Brookline, Massachusetts to right here at Arlington National Cemetery, where he could truly lie here forever. Coming up, passenger side, as we pass this tree, look out for a tall black grave marker with the Star of David on it. Final resting place for Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, laid to rest their husband, Martin Ginsburg. Keep looking on the passenger side. On top of this little hill we're going to be passing, there's a gray curved wall. Behind this gray curved wall is where President John F. Kennedy lies. To get to him, either one of these two left or right-hand paths on our passenger side will take you to him. Now we are approaching our stop for President Kennedy's gravesite. For those of you who do wish to be board, feel free to do so once the vehicle comes to a complete stop. As long as you have your tickets, you will be allowed back on. There will be trams behind us every 15 to 20 minutes.
Anybody else getting off the first cart? Or are you guys good to go? Second cart now. Second cart.
Good.
off to our next stop, the Memorial Amphitheater, where the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is, and the changing of the guard takes place. Every hour, on the hour. Passenger side, grave marker that says Daniel Chaffee James Jr., first African-American four-star general. He was also a Tuskegee Airman who trained other African-American Tuskegee Airmen. On the driver's side, an equestrian statue for British Field Marshal Sir John Dill. He is known for having helped cement the relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. Either side of us is going to be section 2. Section 2 is rather large. You can find a list of notables here. For example, somewhere we can find here that we can't really see. 2 fleet admirals. Fleet Admiral William D. Leahy, the very first Fleet Admiral, and the very first 5-star officer. And then Fleet Admiral William Bull Halsey, the most recent Fleet Admiral. Other notables that can be found within Section 2, Margaret Higgins, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and the only female war correspondent during the Korean War. And then another one we can find is Rear Admiral Richard Byrd, first American to have flown over the North Pole, earning him a Medal of Honor, one of the few Medal of Honor recipients outside of wartime. Driver's side, cusp of the hill, you're going to see 4 tall grave markers. One of them will have the words chaplains engraved to the back of it. The hill that those grave markers sit on is known as Chaplain's Hill. Those markers are there in memory of chaplains from all faiths that were lost throughout World War I, World War II, Korean, and Vietnam Wars. Driver's side now, Section 7, we can find our first 5-star general, George C. Marshall. General Marshall is most famous for being the father of the Marshall Plan, which would help redevelop a war-torn Europe, earning him a Nobel Peace Prize, making General Marshall the only Nobel laureate laid to rest at the cemetery. Passenger side, we're going to see a tall brown grave marker, final resting place for the heavyweight champion from the 1930s and the 1940s, the brown bomber himself, Joe Louis. Passenger side, tall brown grave marker right beside the tree. Now, as we keep going, coming up on our passenger side, we're about to pass in front of the tomb of the unknown soldier. I'm going to pause my narration out of respect. Feel free to take photos if you like. I'm just going to pause my narration. Coming up, passenger side.